You're standing in Versailles, 1789. The most powerful king in Europe lives here, Louis XVI of France. His word is literally law. He answers to no one but God. Fast forward just 10 years, and he's dead, executed by his own people. Now jump to 1989, exactly 2 centuries later. The Berlin Wall falls. Millions across Eastern Europe are tearing down the last remnants of tyranny, demanding democracy. So what happened? How did an entire continent go from the king can do whatever he wants to we the people decide? This isn't a simple story of good guys versus bad guys. It's messier, bloodier, and far more fascinating than that. Today, we're diving into one of the most dramatic political transformations in human history. This is the story of how Europe traded its crowns for constitutions. For most of European history, the idea of democracy would have seemed insane. Genuinely crazy. Think about it from a medieval or early modern perspective. Kings ruled by divine right. God himself supposedly chose them. The social order was clear: monarchs at the top, nobility below them, and everyone else at the bottom. You were born into your station, and that was that. Democracy? That was something the ancient Greeks tried, and look what happened to them, conquered by monarchs. But here's the thing. Even in this world of absolute monarchy, there were cracks in the armor. England had its Magna Carta back in 1215, not democracy, but it established that even kings had some limits. Parliament existed, though it was really just a club for wealthy landowners. The key moment comes in 1688, the Glorious Revolution in England. Parliament essentially fires King James II and installs William and Mary with conditions attached. For the first time, a major European power establishes that Parliament's authority trumps the monarchs. It's not democracy yet. Most people still can't vote, but it's a crucial first step. And across the English Channel, French philosophers are watching, taking notes, and thinking, what if we took this further? Enter the Enlightenment, and this is where things get spicy. Guys like John Locke, Voltaire, Montesquieu, and Rousseau start asking dangerous questions. What if kings don't have a divine right to rule? What if legitimate government requires the consent of the governed? What if, and this is radical, all men are created equal? These ideas spread through coffee houses, salons, and banned books smuggled across borders. The intellectual ammunition is being loaded. Then comes the spark, the American Revolution in 1776. A bunch of colonists across the Atlantic actually do it. They overthrow monarchy and establish a republic based on Enlightenment principles. Europe's intellectuals and reformers are electrified. If it can happen there, why not here? But the real earthquake hits France in 1789. The French Revolution starts with reasonable demands: a constitutional monarchy, basic rights, fiscal reform. But it spirals into something far more radical. Within a few years, the king is executed, the entire aristocratic order is dismantled, and France declares itself a republic. Now, I'm not going to romanticize this. The terror that followed was genuinely horrifying. Thousands executed, paranoia everywhere. But here's what matters for our story. The old order had been destroyed. You couldn't put that genie back in the bottle. Every monarch in Europe suddenly realized this could happen to me. So what do Europe's monarchs do? They freak out and try to crush these democratic ideas completely. After Napoleon's defeat in 1815, the major powers meet at the Congress of Vienna and basically try to hit the reset button. They restore monarchies, redraw borders, and create a system to suppress revolutionary movements. It's called the Concert of Europe, and its whole purpose is to keep the old order alive. But here's the problem. Ideas don't die just because kings want them to. 1848 becomes the year of revolutions. Uprisings explode across Europe almost simultaneously. Paris, Berlin, Vienna, Budapest, Milan. People are demanding constitutions, voting rights, and national self-determination. Most of these revolutions fail in the short term, but they plant seeds. Throughout the 19th century, you see this pattern: revolution, repression, reform, repeat. Britain gradually expands voting rights through Reform Acts 1832, 1867, 1884, each one extending the franchise to more men. France oscillates between republic, empire, and monarchy before settling on its third republic in 1870. Even the German states, united under Prussian leadership in 1871, create a constitution with an elected parliament, though the Kaiser still holds enormous power. It's this hybrid system, keeping the crown but sharing power with elected representatives. Then comes World War I, and this is the earthquake that finally topples the remaining pillars. The war is a catastrophe beyond imagination. Millions dead, economies shattered, societies traumatized. And when it ends in 1918, 4 major empires collapse almost simultaneously: the German, Austro-Hungarian, Russian, and Ottoman empires. Gone, just like that. In their place, republics and democracies spring up across Europe. Germany becomes the Weimar Republic. Austria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, and Poland all emerge as democratic states from the rubble of empire. Russia takes a different path. The Communist Revolution of 1917 promises power to the people but delivers dictatorship. This becomes a competing model, and it'll haunt Europe for the rest of the century. But in Western and Central Europe, democracy seems triumphant. Universal male suffrage becomes standard. Women start winning the right to vote. Finland in 1906, Britain and Germany in 1918. It looks like the democratic revolution is complete. Except it's not, because fascism is waiting in the wings. The interwar period proves that democracy is fragile. Economic crisis, political instability, and cultural anxiety create the perfect storm. In Italy, Germany, Spain, and elsewhere, fascist movements rise, promising order, national greatness, and strong leadership. Democracy collapses in country after country, replaced by dictatorships. World War II is in many ways a war between competing political systems: democracy versus fascism versus communism. When the war ends in 1945, Europe is divided. Western Europe, with American support, rebuilds as democratic societies: France, West Germany, Italy, the Low Countries, Scandinavia. These aren't perfect democracies, but they're genuine attempts at government by consent. Eastern Europe falls under Soviet domination, communist dictatorships that call themselves people's democracies, but are anything but. And here's where the story gets interesting again. For 40 decades, the Iron Curtain divides 2 competing visions of Europe. But underneath, the democratic impulse never dies in the East. It smolders. Which brings us back to 1989. When the Berlin Wall falls, it's not just the end of communism, it's the culmination of a 100-year struggle for democratic governance in Europe. Today, almost every European country is a democracy or constitutional monarchy with democratic institutions. The journey from Versailles to Brussels, from absolute monarchy to the European Union, took centuries of struggle, multiple revolutions, 2 world wars, and countless sacrifices. Was it inevitable? Absolutely not. At every step, it could have gone differently. The victory of democracy in Europe is fragile, hard-won, and requires constant defense. Because here's the thing about crowns and constitutions. Crowns are inherited, but constitutions must be chosen again and again by every generation.